Good afternoon and welcome to the show. Today we're going to look at the final question in the email newsletter series that we've been running this past couple of days. And the final question is it a bad thing if people refuse to open your newsletter? Now we have to tackle this because people go absolutely crazy pulling their hair out. If you have an email newsletter with, let's say, 100 people on it, and maybe only 10 people are opening your newsletter, or maybe you have 1,000 people on it, and maybe only 100 opening your newsletter. So does that mean it's a bad thing if you have 1,000 people on your list, but only 100 people open your email newsletter? Or if you have 100 people on the list, but maybe only 20 or 50 open your email newsletter? Is it such a bad thing? Well, from the things that we have discussed so far, I hope you guys have been able to figure out that the answer is no. It's not such a bad thing if people refuse to open your newsletter. Yes, it hurts the ego that you think you've put together good quality content, good information, really good stuff. You send it out to 100 people, but only 10 people open it. That really hurts the ego. But actually, it's a good sign. And the reason why it's a good sign is this: the people who haven't opened the 90 out of 100 or the 80 out of 100 are clearly disengaged with the message and with the content that you are putting out. So it's a good thing. It shows you now have some feedback about how you're going to conduct your business and your messaging. You now know that majority of the people are disengaged. It could be a sign that what you have is the wrong audience. Maybe you signed up people, the wrong kind of people, to the email newsletter, or perhaps you should be looking for a new audience to try and reach out to. There are lots of ways that you can take this signal that you get from people who are on your email newsletter or your mailing list. But the bottom line is the people who are disengaged, and if you have the wrong audience, either way, these people are never going to buy your product or your service. So yesterday, I mentioned ProShare as an example of a company that is using email newsletters to promote their service. So they put out content on the capital market. Coca-Cola did this. What else? Jumia moved X percentage points. Forex is this in the market. This is this. This is that. So they put out all good things concerning Nigerian capital markets and money markets. And people who sign up for that kind of stuff, like my wife, who is in the securities space, they need that kind of info. They want that kind of info. They desire that kind of info. And so when they're looking for specialists to crunch their data, or they're looking for resources to buy concerning these sorts of things, it would only make sense that ProShare will be the people that they turn to, because ProShare has a daily, well, I think it's almost daily newsletter that they send out every single day. Now, on the other hand, if I'm on that list, clearly I'll be disengaged because I haven't been interested in financial stuff since I left university. So that explains why I stopped opening, and I assume that I unsubscribed from them a very long time ago. So I'm the wrong audience. I'm disengaged. And the thing is, even if I was there on the email list, I would never, ever, ever buy the product or the service because I'm the wrong audience and I'm disengaged. But my wife, she might buy something in the future. So, so actually, it is a good sign because we now know that we need to tweak our message, or we need to pay strong attention to the core audience that is engaging with our content. But by and large, we now know that the people who are not engaging, the people who are not opening, the people who are not doing anything with those emails will never buy our product or our service. That's the bottom line, and that is the good news. You've been given a very clear signal that you sent messages to a bunch of people, let's say 100, you send them emails for 4 months straight, and consistently it's the same 20 people out of the 100 who open it. Just know that at 80%, they're probably never going to buy your product or your service. Now, what do we do with people who refuse to open? What you do is to prune your email list. You have to manually remove addresses. That is what I recommend. There's a client that I was working with who she doesn't have an email list, but for her is the Instagram handle, and there are people who don't engage, who are just there. She suspects that some of them are bots, as in BOTS, online robots. And so I recommended she has to prune the list. Because if you don't prune, it hurts your deliverability. The algorithm says what you're dishing out is not valuable because you have 100,000 followers, but whenever you put up stuff, only 1% or 0.1% likes or shares or whatever. So prune the list so that the algorithm starts working in your favor to show that what you have is valuable. So we have to prune your email list, manually remove people, or perhaps you need to send out another email to the list saying, to certain people on the list saying, hey, I noticed that you haven't opened the emails in the last 3 to 4 months. I'm assuming that this thing is no longer giving you a value anymore. If it is, please follow this link to unsubscribe so that people unsubscribe. So prune your email list, make it easier for people to unsubscribe. Now, this sounds like bad news because you're kicking people away, but actually it is good news because, like I said, the algorithms now will see that what it is that you have is much more valuable. I mean, this is my point. If you have 100 people on the email list, you send out that email, let's say manually, you remove about 20. And then you send out that email, saying you haven't opened the last 4 email addresses. If this content is no longer valuable to you, please unsubscribe by following this link. And then maybe another 40 people leave. Okay, we started off with 100, so that's 20, 20, 40. So we're left with 60. So now, if 20 out of 60 people are opening it, it makes a much more better picture to Google algorithms. Because your content all of a sudden now seems much more valuable because the percentage of people opening it has gone up, even though the absolute number of people who you have on the list has gone down. So your content looks to be much more valuable because a higher percentage of people are now opening those emails that you send. So it actually is a good thing that you send some people away if it looks like they are not getting any value from all of this. So the bottom line is a healthy and engaged email list is going to lead to healthy business, and that is what you should be paying attention to. Stop focusing on the people who are not opening. Pay attention to the people who are opening the emails, your newsletters or whatever. Pay attention to the people who are engaging. Engage with them. Find out what content it is that they like, what it is that resonates with them. Answer the questions that they have. You keep doing best practices like that and the engagement is going to keep going up and up. For people who don't open, prune them, get rid of them yourself, or send them another email, making it easy for them to get off the list. What we want is a healthy and engaged email list, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot better for you to have 100 people on your email list and 50 of them open, instead of you having 1,000 people on your email list, but only 50 of them open. The second one that has 1,000 people on the list, but only 50 of them open, Google and Yahoo are going to look at those stats, and then they'll say, whatever it is this person has to push out, it's not valuable. So the next time you send out a bunch of emails, Google is going to automatically move you to the spam folder or to the promotions folder, and Yahoo has started doing the same thing too. If you don't believe what it is that I'm saying, think about this. I'm assuming that a good bunch of you listening to the podcast now have Netflix. And when we all signed up for Netflix, it was kind of the default thing that we were signed up to the Netflix newsletter. But think about this now. How many of you that have a Netflix account remember the last time you saw a Netflix email in your inbox? That's apart from a payment notification. The reason why you haven't seen a Netflix notification in your inbox is because of this. Netflix sent a bunch of messages. Maybe you opened 1 or 2 to see what the latest movie is. But then by week 2, week 3, week 4, you stopped opening. 2 or 3 months went by, you stopped opening. And then Google got smart that, okay, this person does not open emails from Netflix. And so if you go to your Netflix tab and you check the promotions folder, or if you check the spam folder, if you click on it, you're going to see that all your Netflix emails that have been sent to you over the last month or year are there in the promotions tab or in the spam tab. That is what happens automatically when people refuse to open your email or your newsletter. That is the reason why we have to prune. So, I think you guys have gotten the gist. And the answer now to the overriding question, whether it's a good thing to beg people to open your email newsletter, I'll give a straight answer. with all that we have covered right now, I hope you guys have been able to see that actually it's a bad thing to do to beg people to open your newsletter. People should be opening their newsletters on their own accord because the content that you have put out is valuable and it's something that they need, they want, and that they desire. If you have to beg people, it actually is a bad sign. So don't beg people. Instead, if people are not engaging, prune your list. Delete the people who haven't opened anything in the last 6 months or the last 1 year or whatever. And then for the others, send links from time to time saying, thanks for reading so far. If you're not one of those who likes this content, you don't have to hang around. Follow this link, unsubscribe. I want to make things easier for you. I don't want to clutter up your inbox. That kind of email. It'll be better off for everyone because the person that chooses to unsubscribe can now go and look for something else to engage his or her time with. And for you, you're left with a much more healthier and engaged email list at the end of the day, because the few people that will remain love what you're putting out, want what you're putting out, desire what it is that you're putting out. And so long as that signal keeps being sent to Google and Yahoo will always do their best to make sure that your your email newsletter keeps getting delivered to more and more people. If you leave a bunch of dead weight there, then Google and Yahoo are going to get the wrong idea, and they're going to start moving your emails to promotions folder or to spam. So thank you very much for listening to today's episode. Thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next recording.